In this series, I'd like to talk to you about routines and the benefits of routines and how they can be applied to all levels of players, from top end, top players in the world, right into the beginner club player, and how the benefits of the routine will really develop your skills, learn certain areas of the court, how to apply pressure, and consistently understand where you are on the squash court. For this series, I've picked three what I've called pretty simple routines. The first one is two players, one at the back, one at the front. Player at the back drives the ball to themselves. They then drop the ball from the back of the court to the front. The person at the front of the court drops the ball to themselves, and then they drive the ball to the back, and that continues. Sounds simple, not as easy as it sounds. Being able to drop that ball from the back of the court to the front is a real skill. Lots of club players really struggle with that straight drop from the back. Most players have no problem driving the ball from the front to the back. I think if we think about coaching, most coaches anchor themselves at the back of the court. First things you do when you get on the squash court is bludgeon the ball to the back of the court. I like this practice because it brings in the softer skill. It allows the player at the front of the court to feel the ball and then lift the ball to the back, and allows the player at the back of the court really to start to develop that softer skill of being able to take the ball to the front of the court with a soft drop shot. So what we see Joe getting nice and low in the hips, playing a lovely straight drop with a little bit of gentle movement out. Tom doesn't actually feed the ball to himself. He actually puts the ball in, pushes the ball to the back. Again, Joe getting nice and low in the hips, pushing the ball to the front, and obviously you switch this and do this on the other side. As you can see from the routine that Tom and Joe are doing, they're obviously executing the practice really well. There is movement. Joe is actually getting towards the back of the service box after his drive, and Tom is actually recovering towards the tee after his drive from the front. General problems you find with the club players, they tend to be very static. They don't tend to be moving with the ball. There tends to be this not being able to drop the knees and bend at the waist. They tend to just bend over, so then impacting on what actually happens with the racket face. It looks real when Tom and Joe do it. It looks like it could almost be a rally. They are really working on precision, weight of shot, height on the front ball, accuracy. You're going to make mistakes. It is a safe environment. I think routines are a safe environment. I don't mean safe as in not getting hit. I mean safe as in you should be allowed to explore and express yourself with routine. Try different racket angles, try different racket preparations, try different follow-throughs. One of the key things that I've mentioned before on previous videos is actually this ability to actually hit through the line of the ball. And I think Joe does that extremely well. Racket head follows the line of the ball. He wants to be able to guide the ball to the front of the court. He wants to take the ball in with weight and purpose. The second routine that I looked at that I think is a really good one, again, a little bit more complex, but still very achievable, is the boast or straight drop from the back option, straight drive from the front. And you'll see in the video that actually Tom is moving again nicely off of his drop and off of his boast. But the most important thing is he's got a decision to be made now. He has the option. He's partnering up two shots. He's partnering up the straight drop or the boast. You're going to be moving with the ball, really focusing on the impact point, making sure that you have an option of the boast or the straight drop. And what I mean by impact point, I would like that ball to be somewhere in line with your front hip. Doesn't matter whether you take it off the right foot or off the left foot, but it's making sure that impact point is consistent, which will give you the option of the boast or the drop. If you can partner two shots up, I think you're doing really well. I would suggest that you actually start to put some targets down, looking for where you want that ball to bounce. And I simply use an old squash ball. When it's burst, I rip it open and place half a ball at the back of the court where I want the ball to land, and a ball at the front of the court where I want that ball to land. I think targets will really help you. It gives you that instant reward, that instant feedback. If the coach is off on another court or you're practicing together without a coach, you can see the quality of your shot by where the ball is landed. The next practice or routine that I've chosen here is the boast cross-court drive, volley to length, switch positions. It adds that movement element to the routine, albeit it's still in a pattern. The players still know where the ball's going, but they're actually having to increase their intensity of movement to recover the shot. The option also from the front, you don't always have to drive. You can look for that lob. I know that's one of Jethro's favourite practices, getting that lift out high and wide over the volley. My one issue with routines down the player pathway is that because you know where the ball is going as a player, you tend to move to those positions before the ball's actually got there, and you're not actually tracking the ball. So really think about following the ball so you actually arrive at the right point of impact to allow you to play the shot that you're wanting to play. Don't just run headlessly into that corner or that corner or that corner or that corner and hope the ball's going to arrive there, because your shot quality is going to break down. Track the ball, watch the ball. If we look at somebody like a James Willstrop when he's playing, you know, his eyes, they're alive, they come out on stalks. He tracks the ball, he's watching the ball all the time, because it might just kick off the wall, it might just have an unusual bounce, then you're going to have to change your shot. Watch the ball, move with the ball, give yourself time. Condition games, the clue's in the title. It's match play with conditions. It can be as open or as closed as need be. Argument's sake, we could have one player that plays every ball to the front of the court. We could have one player playing every ball to the back of the court. That's a fairly open condition game. We could have the situation where players are just playing in this front little quarter here. Fairly closed condition game. Why we do condition games? I believe we do them to develop the skill under a little bit more pressure from the routine itself. As I've said, they can be open, they can be closed, but it actually starts to put a little bit more pressure, probably more on movement as well now. So you're thinking about the whole match situation in a confined area of the court, really highlighting and illuminating certain aspects of the technical and tactical and movement issues that a player might have. So one of the most simple condition games on the website that I've used often is actually a pair of shoes. Simply placed, one shoe, 2 racket lengths on the front wall, one shoe, 2 rackets length from the front wall on the other side. Normal squash. Players get rewarded for hitting the shoe or the scat between the shoe and the front wall. This could really emphasise and illuminate the fact of actually looking for that volley, taking the ball into the front of the court, pushing players up, recovering the tee. The flip of that is actually to pick the shoes up and place them in the back part of the court. Again, a rack and a half, probably length from the back wall. If it hits the shoe, again, rewards extra points. If it hits the space between the shoe and the back wall, extra points. A great game for emphasising winning the length battle, getting the ball to the back part of the court.